Thank you for watching our Dvar Malchus from Parshas Yisro 5752. The Lubavitcher Rebbe. Today's shiur is dedicated to Refura Shelema, Ariel, David ben Simcha. May it be speedily and immediately. We are on page 175. The Ten Commandments are written in the Torah twice. The first time in our Parsha, Torah Parsha, the Parsha of Yisro, and the second time in the book of the Mishnah Torah, Deuteronomy, in the Parshas of Veshlachan. I mean, we must understand the content of the two times it is written in the Torah, since the Ten Commandments are the essence and foundation of the whole Torah and include the whole entire Torah. We must then say that the two times, the first mention in the Ten Commandments in the Parsha of Yisro and the last mention in the Ten Commandments of the Parsha of Veshlachan, express two aspects of the Torah in general, especially that there are a number of differences between the first utterance and the commandments in the Parshas Yisro and the last utterance of the commandments in the Parshas of Veshlachan, as explained in the exposition of our sages and by the commentaries. Additionally, it makes sense to say that the particular difference of the two times are an outcome of the general difference between them, as we will explain. A general and essential difference between the first utterance of the commandments and the last utterance of the commandments also, in the simple sense, is that the first utterance of the commandment in the Parshas Yisro are, as Hashem himself say them at the giving of the Torah, and God spoke all these words saying, whereas the last utterance of the commandments are parts of the words of Moshe, as Moshe repeated them in the 14th year of their travels in the desert, in the 40th year, in the 40th year of their travels in the desert. In the book of the Mishnah Torah, these are the words which Moshe spoke. In addition, since the two sets of the commandments are part of the eternal Torah, and the words of the Torah comes from the term ha'orah, instruction, is understood that the two forms of the uttering of the Ten Commandments, the word of Hashem himself and the word of Hashem as it was given over via Moshe, are found in the matters of the Torah and in the service of the Jew in his study of the Torah and fulfillment of the commandments in general throughout all times. Especially according to the words of our sages, that the Torah study must be in a manner that every day the Torah must be new in your eyes, exactly as it was the first time, which therefore we say at the blessing of the Torah, who gives the Torah in present tense, to the extent that just as then we received it, we fear, awe, tremble, and shake, so too, presently we must study with fear, awe, trembling, and shaking. It is understood that these two forms of the utterance of the Ten Commandments must be in the daily service of man. Now we must understand that what is added with the last utterance of the commandments that Moshe said over the first utterance of the commandments that the Jewish people heard from the Holy One, blessed be he himself. We must say the explanation of this is the Torah in general has two levels. Torah is essence, is a stored away treasure, which is in your treasure before the world was created, being that it is the wisdom of the Holy One, blessed be he, to the extent that the Torah is one with his essence, blessed be he. The Torah, he, and the Torah, our Holy One, blessed be he, are completely one. Afterwards, the Torah traveled and descended through the hidden levels of Hashem's revelations, level after level, through the gradational descent of the spiritual world until it rests itself in the physical objects and the matters of the world, etc. Then, at the giving of the Torah was given to the Jewish people below, specifically on the earth, to the extent that the Torah is not in the heaven, meaning that the Jewish people, souls and bodies, must study Torah and give decisions in question of Jewish law based on their intellect and on their own understanding, namely in the confines of the intellect of this world below. In addition, they are to use the Torah and the commandments to transform the physical world and make it into a dwelling place for him, blessed be he, in the lowest realms. From these two levels of Torah come about, as well as two aspects that must be in the Torah study of the Jew. Knowledge and recognition of the Torah in his wisdom and his will, blessed be he, which transcends all matter of the world, including human intellect, brings out the feeling of self-nullification for the person who studies Torah and the Holy One, blessed be he. Indeed, before the Torah study, it is incumbent upon him to recite the blessing of the Torah. Blessed are you, Hashem, and gave us his Torah, although he doesn't even understand the meaning of the words with regard to the written Torah. Furthermore, his self-nullification must be to such extent that he doesn't feel himself as an existence for himself. Rather, his whole existence is in order to express the word of Hashem, which the Torah consists of, as it says, my tongue shall reiterate your words, meaning that the Torah is in your words, only that the tongue shall reiterate them, as one repeats after another what the other one said. This means that in addition to the phenomenon that everyone who reads and learns the Holy One, blessed be He, reads and learns opposite him, that his reading and learning of Torah causes, so to say, the reading and learning of the Holy One, blessed be He. Behold, moreover, the utterance of the person and the utterance of the Holy One, blessed be He, in a manner of the Lord shall open up my lips, and my mouth shall utter your praise. My words which I have placed in your mouth, similar to the phenomenon of the divine presence, speaks from his throat. For this reason, the sages say that just as then we receive the Torah, we with awe, fear, tremble, and shaking, so presently it must be studied with the fear, awe, trembling, and shaking. For seemingly the comparison of just as then, so too presently, is not understood in the view of the fact that the event at Mount Sinai, as it is written, all the nations beheeded the voices, and face to face Hashem spoke, which is not how it is when one studies Torah in his own. Since also the Torah study of every person and every time is literally the word of Hashem, which was said to Moshe at Har Sinai. And Hashem spoke all these words, saying, and through contemplating on this awe and fear will fall upon him, as he received it today from Har Sinai. The knowledge of the Torah that was given below on the earth specifically to him, as a soul and a body, gives a Jew the realization there must be the existence of a person who shall study Torah and put forth effort in understanding the Torah which he learns with his intellect, until in a matter that the Torah of Hashem, which is called the Torah of Hashem, is called by his name, namely of the person that studies it, his Torah, since he toiled to understand it. Indeed, the Torah is his possession, which therefore a rabbi that forgoes his honor is forgone, meaning to say that he becomes the owner, so to say, of the Torah. Just as there are two aspects in Torah study, similarly, this is also expressed in the two components of the object of the giving of the Torah and commandments below, namely to make a dwelling place for him, blessed be he, in the lowest realms, which is accomplished through Torah and the fulfillment of the commandments. The completeness of the revelation of godliness, namely that the dwelling place, should be a dwelling for him, blessed be he, for which we must have Torah, and the Holy One, blessed be he, are completely one entity, which accomplishes the drawing forth and revelation of his essence, blessed be he. This great revelation, being revealed in the confines of the lowest realms, namely that it is the dwelling place, should be an entirety of the lowest realms, and a Jew, a soul and a body, finds himself together with the Torah, which descends below in the lowest realms, and conduct himself according to the definition and customs of the lowest realms, in order to make the lowest realms, as they remain in the confines and characteristics, a dwelling place for him, blessed be he, through utilizing the definitions and customs themselves in accordance with the instruction of the Torah, to make a dwelling place for Hashem. As with a dwelling place in the simple sense, in order to make a dwelling place in a specific place and with a specific things, the lowest realm, there must be a concept of you go to a place and furthermore act accordance to its customs. One must go and settle in that place. You go to a place and furthermore a matter of investment, act according to its customs to conduct its oneself according to the way of life and customs of that place specifically, then it is possible for him to settle in that place in a manner that will become his dwelling place, through utilizing the way of life and customs of the place to make his dwelling place, to make it bigger and nicer, whereas he finds himself in a second place, or even in this place, however, in a manner that it isn't acting according to his customs, he cannot have a dwelling place there. Similar in an analogy, in order to make dwelling place in the lowest realms, a Jew cannot remain a soul above. Rather, he, together with the Torah, must descend into a place and situation in the lowest realms, and conduct himself there according to the way of life and customs of the place and lowest realm, in accordance with the instruction of the Torah, and utilize the customs themselves to make a dwelling for him, blessed be he. We may say that the power to accomplish the two aspects, both of Torah study and also of the service in making a dwelling place in the lowest realms, comes from two sets of commandments. The first utterance of the commandments, and God spoke these words, saying, give the Jewish people the power that, regarding the entire Torah, they have the self-nullification to the word of Hashem, which speaks via their mouths, and to be only like the one who repeats after the one saying it. As explained, the understanding of the word, and God spoke all these words, saying, for seemingly the word saying is not understood, since it is not like all the other mention of the word saying in the scriptures, which mean to say, repeat it to others, whereas regarding the Ten Commandments, it cannot be understood so, since all the Jewish people heard the word of Hashem face to face, both those that are present and also those that are not present at the event at Har Sinai. All the souls of the Jewish people were present, even the souls of the converts to Judaism. Only understanding of the word saying in our case is that through the phenomena of Hashem spoke all these words saying, he gave the power to the Jewish people throughout the generations, and their study of any of the words of the Torah, which are all included in all of these words, should be in a manner of saying, repeating, which was already said. This meaning that a Jew not saying his words, rather literally the word of Hashem that was said to Moshe at Har Sinai, my tongue shall reiterate your words. On the other hand, the last utterance of the commandments, which were repeated, and he said by Moshe, the intermediary which connects Hashem and you, the Jewish people, being that he is a godly man as a soul and a body below, give the power that a Jew as a soul and a body may have the power, especially through the aspect of Moshe within him, to have the ability to study Torah and understand and comprehend and understanding and comprehension of the human intellect below. Similarly, we receive from this the two aspects of both sets of commandments, the power to make a dwelling for him, blessed be he, in the lowest realms, both regarding the Jew himself, as it is known that the main concept of the dwelling place in the lowest realm is and begins with the Jewish people, to dwell and reside in the soul of the Jewish people, etc. That the Knesset Yisrael shall be the places of his abode, blessed be he. For since the Jewish people and the Holy One, blessed be he, are completely one, behold, the Jewish people are truly dwelling for his essence, blessed be he, since they are, so to say, one of the essence, blessed be he, only that this is revealed through their service in the lowest realms, to the extent that this is drawn forth the power to make a dwelling place in the lowest realms in this world as well. The first utterance of the commandments, as in a manner of God spoke all these words, saying, gives us the power to accomplish dwelling for him, blessed be he, and for him, meaning his essence. And the Ten Commandments, being through Moshe Rabbeinu, gives the power to accomplish this in the lowest realms in their confines, since Moshe is found below, going to a village, act according to its customs. The reason why we need both sets of commandments, the first ones and the last ones, is because each one of them has an advantage. The advantage of, and God spoke, is the revelation and drawing forth of the commandments from his essence, blessed be he, without any intermediaries, not even going through the intermediary of Moshe Rabbeinu, a godly man. This means that even though Moshe is in an intermediary which connects, who gives over the word of Hashem in a matter that the Holy Presence speaks through his throat without any sediment at all, rather the word of Hashem spoke in a matter of transferring and not in a matter of investment, still transferring also affects its decrees and strength, similar to the king speaking on a radio in which awe doesn't truly fall upon the person listening. This is also the reason why they need the commandments to be said through Moshe, since from the mouth of the Holy One, blessed be he himself, they weren't capable of receiving it, whereas through Moses, even though it comes only in a matter of transferring, still this accomplished, the Jewish people can receive it. And the innovation of, and Hashem spoke all these words, is that the Jewish people heard the commandments from the mouth of Hashem himself without any intermediary. On the other hand, the way which we receive the word of Hashem is through the nullification of the physical existence, as it took place then, that upon each and every commandment, their souls flew out of their bodies, and there needed to be a phenomenon of Hashem brought upon them the dew which with it he will revive the dead in the future and revive them. And therefore the Jews needed, in regard to the other commandments, after the commandments of I am and you shall have, that Moshe speaks and announces to the Jewish people. The advantage of the last utterance of the commandments that were given, that were said via Moshe, is that the word of Hashem descends to a level which the Jewish people are acquainted to. Their existence itself can internalize it, and not through the nullification of existence. However, this is due to the fact that the revelation of The revelation through Moshe comes to Jewish people via somewhat of a variation, not so to say as the revelation from it and Hashem spoke to him, and Hashem spoke himself. In the above mentioned term, to make for himself, blessed be he, a dwelling in the lowest realm, in the first utterance of the commandments, the aspect of a dwelling for him, blessed be he, a great godly revelation is clearly revealed. However, the aspect of the lowest realm is not so evident. On the other hand, in the last utterance of the commandments, the lowest realm is more emphasized. However, not such a high level of for him, blessed be he. More in detail, we may say that the concept of the dwelling for him, blessed be he itself, there are two aspects and levels, as it accomplished via Moshe with the last utterance of the commandments, and as an accomplishment through and God spoke with the first utterance of the commandments. Even when we make a dwelling for him, blessed be he, in the lowest realms, the dwelling place is, however, only a dwelling for him, blessed be he, however, not he, blessed be he, the dweller himself. The dwelling does not become, so to say, Hashem, not that Hashem spoke itself, rather as the word of Hashem comes out via Moshe with the last utterances of the commandments. As we see in a dwelling place, in its simple sense, even though in a dwelling place the person dwell in it, it is revealed in his full essence. However, the dwelling place itself is not part of the person dwelling in it. There are two different entities, similar in the analogy, since the object is to make a dwelling in the lowest realm in their existence and level, to the extent that the dwelling is made via the confines and customs of the lowest realms. You go to the village, act according to its custom as mentioned above. Therefore, even when it comes to a dwelling for him, blessed be he, in the lowest realms, and even a dwelling for his essence, blessed be he, where Hashem is openly revealed. However, the dwelling in its lowest realms, from its perspective, remains in a state of lowest realms regarding the concealment of his light. Blessed be he, that there in this world godliness is concealed, hidden, and invested, which is indeed a dwelling for him, blessed be he. However, is separate thing, so to say, from the dweller himself, namely his essence, blessed be he, which even though this has the innovation, that even in the lowest realm there is made a dwelling for him, blessed be he, this is however not the essence and all-encompassing one, is found in his true essence, which then it would be clear that he is truly everything, including the dwelling itself. And may we say that this is the manner of making a dwelling in the lowest realms, as is accomplished via Moshe Rabbeinu, the intermediary which connects on his own, similar to the last utterance of the commandments, which are the words of Hashem. However, as it is manifested via Moshe Rabbeinu, as a result, it is more on the level of the lowest realms. However, it is not the revelation of the dweller himself. In addition to the dwelling for himself, blessed be he, is accomplished at the essence, blessed be he, is revealed in his full essence, and the Hashem spoke in all these words, saying with the first utterance and the commandments. The true completeness is when there is an unification of these two aspects, the revelation of the essence of the Ein Sof, blessed be he, and his true essence, not as it is found in Moshe acting as an intermediary which connects, transferring and contracting the revelation to the Jewish people as they are found in the lowest realms as a soul and a body. In addition, they receive the revelation in the innermost of their existence, not through the nullification of their existence. This means that the dwelling in the lowest realm itself becomes not a nullification, not a nullified existence, rather a pipeline for the revelation of the word of Hashem, literally from his essence, blessed be him, the dweller, is his true essence. The dwelling's whole existence is to act as a conduit to reveal godliness. However, its purpose is not to reduce the strength of revelation as with the intermediary which connects. This is accomplished through a Jew learning Torah below in a manner of my tongue shall reiterate your words. He becomes a pipeline for the revelation of the essence, blessed be he, in such a manner that the dwelling itself, the Jew as he is found in the lowest realms, expresses and reveals the word of Hashem literally. My tongue shall reiterate your words, to the extent that he, the Jew, is, so to say, the one thing that Hashem, the revelation below, the Jewish people, and the Holy One, blessed be, are completely one entity. With this power, a Jew accomplishes similarly in the entity of the world, in the entity of the world as well, namely that the actual being of the lowest realms are not in a dwelling place which is a separate entity from the one dwelling in it. Rather, the whole existence is that they reveal the word of Hashem, including the revelation of the power of the essence of Hashem, which is found in the world, which only He has the power and ability to create something from nothing. The reason why there is a need for both sets of commandments, even though the first utterance of the commandments, which the Holy One, blessed be He, says Himself, are on an incomparably higher level than the last utterances of the commandments, which are said via Moshe, since through the saying of the last commandments of Moshe Rabbeinu, in a manner of to say that he reiterates the word of Hashem literally, it is accomplished that also, as the Jewish people are found in below, in the lowest realms, even here they are able to receive the confines of the lowest realms and accomplish through their Torah study and service below the revelation of God spoke and the word of Hashem literally, which was then at the giving of the Torah. This means that through the last utterance of the Ten Commandments in the Parshas V'Eschan, the complete virtue of the first utterance of the commandments in Parshas Yisro is revealed, and the revelation of and God spoke in the revelation of and God spoke in the to say of every Jew in the lowest realms, namely that the Torah study of every Jew in all time and at all places here is literally the word of Hashem, which was said to Moshe from Sinai. Through this, the concept of just as then it was with awe, fear, trembling, and shaking, so too now is brought about literally as it was at the giving of the Torah. According to what was explained above, we may also explain that the connection of the Torah portion to the time in which we read from the Torah the portion of Yisro this year, the 20th day of the 11th month of the 11th month is the 11th month of Shvat, which is also the 10th days after the 10th of Shvat, the yahrzeit of my revered father-in-law, the Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzhak, leader of our generation. In addition, from Shabbos, all the days are blessed, naming the upcoming day of Shvat, including the 22nd of Shvat, the yahrzeit of the daughter of my revered father-in-law, the Rebbe, which was also the Rebbe's wife, Rebbetzin Chaya Mushka. The 11th month of Shvat is connected to the revelation of An Ahad Asar, 11th day of Horeb, Mount Sinai, which refers to the Ten Commandments, which refers to the commandments of I am Hashem your God, the unique one of the Esser, 10 commandments, which is referred to as Ahad, one, the source of all the commandments, meaning that 11 days from Horeb refers to the level of 11, our belief in Hashem, which transcends the 10 commandments that were given at Har Sinai, on yet a higher level. The level of 11 refers to the level of Kesser, namely the level of Hashem, which transcends the 10 Sephriot. You are one, however, not in the tally of 10. Moreover, the level of 11 refers to His essence. Blessed be He, which transcends the entire order of gradational descent of Hashem's revelation. In the 11th month itself, the yahrzeit of my revered father-in-law, the Rebbe, is on the 10th day of it. This means, as the revelation of 11 of the 11th month is connected to it and drawn into the level of 10, the order of gradation descent, in addition to the fact that 11 on its own also includes the previous 10, as in the simple sense, in general draws forth the all-encompassing power Kesser, also in the 10 innermost powers, and on even higher level, drawing forth His essence, blessed be He, also below in the lowest realm, similar to the unification of the first utterance of the 10 Commandments and the last utterance of the 10 Commandments. This is manifested in a much greater manner on the 11th day of the 11th month, which then we must have the revelation of 11, which both in regard to the tally of the month as well as the day of the month as spoken above. We may say that since it comes after the revelation of the 10th day of the month, it must also have the advantage drawing forth in internal fashion the aspect of 10. Moreover, in the manner of the ascending and holy manners, namely that from it we may come to the 11th day in the 11th month. We may say that it is similar to the advantage and innovation of the utterance of the first utterance of the 10 Commandments through God, that aspect of 11. After there was the utterance of the last utterance of the 10 Commandments via Moshe, the aspect of 10 as well, that there is the revelation of His essence, blessed be He. 11, even in the confines of the lowest realm, 10, to the extent that the lowest realms themselves become, so to say, dweller Himself, 11 twice 11. And especially when Shabbos of Parshas Yisro, and when we read the whole Parsha from the Torah scroll. Torah scroll, including the portion of the Ten Commandments. And God spoke all these words, saying, with a blessing before it and after it, which then the phenomenon of the Holy One, blessed be He, reads and studies opposite him, is with the advanced vigor and greater strength from how it is regarded to learning this topic in the Torah. Any day of the year falls out in the 20th day of the 11th month. The word Esrim, 20, is the numerical value of the word Keser, the level of 11 Keser within 11. And from this we come afterwards to the 21st day of the month, good for the Jewish people, 11 days from 10th day of the 11th month, and this is the day of heralding, the 22nd of the month, twice Bacha, with you. 22, the Jewish people will be blessed, corresponding to the 22 letters of the Torah, which are through them all the matters, blessings are drawn forth eternally into you. We may add and explain the connection of the above with the Parsha of Mishpatim, which we begin to read from the Torah scroll at the Mincha prayer. Moreover, it is the Parsha following the days, including the 22nd of Shvat. On the verse, and these are the rulings that you shall place before them. Our sages say, just as the first one, the 10 Commandments from Sinai, so too are these from Sinai. This means that even the intellectually understood commandments, Mishpatim, which are connected with the confines of the lowest realms from Har Sinai, from his essence, blessed be He, and God spoke exactly at the first ones are from Har Sinai, similar to the concept that just as then it was received with awe, so too presently. And this is revealed in a manner of these, openly revealed to the extent that one points with his finger and said, these, including all the manner of places before them, that it is internalized, comprehended. As our sages relate, that the Holy and Blessed be He said to Moshe, it should not enter your mind to say, I will teach them the chapter and law twice or three times. However, I will not go out of my way to accomplish that they understand the reasons of the matter and explanations, especially since the Torah is essence, transcends understanding and comprehension. Therefore it says that shall be placed before them as a set table before a person ready to be eaten from, meaning that it is incumbent upon them to give the Jewish people even the reasons for the matter and its explanation in a manner that they comprehend it in an internal fashion as a set table ready to be eaten from, which becomes part of one's flesh and blood. Moreover, according to the exposition of the Talmud Yerushalmi on the word tasim, you shall place from the term simcha, meaning treasure, and even the treasure of the Torah, the inner aspects of the Torah, which on their own are hidden and stored away, and are connected to the concealed aspects of the Holy and Blessed be He, must be manifested in a manner of you shall place a lefhenim before them, within their panemius, an innermost aspect of the internalized by them in a revealed manner, even though in essence they are a hidden aspects. Although to the above explained we will understand the lesson from this now, especially in our present time, when we are now literally right before the true and complete redemption is spoken many times. From the concept of just as then, so too presently, we learn that in every single generation, in every time and place, the Jewish people have the power to accomplish the concept of, and God spoke these words saying, exactly as it was given at the time of the Torah the first time. The power of this is we take from the unification of the first utterance of the commandments which came through Hashem, and the last utterances of the commandments which came through Moshe as spoken above at length. And the unification of the first utterances of the commandments and the last utterances of the commandments repeats itself constantly, as it is known that the phenomenon of the giving of the Torah is always present, as we say in the blessing of the Torah, who gives the Torah in present tense. Similarly, in every generation, there is the Moshe of the generation who gives over the word of Hashem, Torah. From all this, it is understood that in each and every generation, the unification of the first and last utterance of the commandments repeats itself, moreover, in a higher way, according to the rule that in holy matters we must always ascend. This gives the power that, just as then, and so too presently, there should be the revelation of it Hashem spoke. How much more so in our generation, in which we see clearly that the motion of our generation, my revered father-in-law, the Rebbe, leader of our generation, is connected with the revelation and unification of the 10 and 11 to the extent of 11 within 11, as explained above. Indeed, this brings out even more the connection of even presently with just as then in the generation of Moshe Rabbeinu. And this receives greater emphasis since our generation is the last generation of exile and the first generation of redemption. And especially recently, as it has been spoken many times, we have already completed everything, and now all that is needed for the redemption in actuality, the revelation of the level of the 10th song, together with the revelation of the level of 11, you are one, the revelation of his essence, blessed be he below, in the true and complete redemption through our righteous Mashiach, who is connected to Moshe Rabbeinu, our teacher. The first Redeemer is connected to the last Redeemer, and especially in accordance with what has been spoken many times, the possible acronym alluded to the word miyad, immediately, Moshe, Yisro, and the Baal Shem Tov, and Dvar Malchus, Mashiach, the King Mashiach. This means the first generation of the giving of the Torah, the generation of Moshe, connects to the last generation of the redemption through Dvar Malchus, via the revelation of the Hasidus of the Baal Shem Tov, which the Rebbes are leaders, his successors, which when your well strings are spread out, the Master comes indeed. This is the King Mashiach. And may we say that this befitting the meaning of the word miyad, immediately. We must say that these three letters of miyad are not connected with these three different time periods. Moshe in his generation, Yisro, the Baal Shem Tov in his, and David Melech in his generation. Rather, they are all come as one, literally next to each other in the same generation, miyad, in each and every generation, as well as in all times. This understanding of the word miyad may also be inferred to the fact that miyad also alludes to the acronym Moshe, Yeshua, and Doram, their generations, which all three of them were in one generation. So too we may say also regarding our particular generation, namely that in the same generation we have the revelation of all three of them. Mem, the acronym Moshe, of Mashiach, Yod, the acronym of the two names of my revered father-in-law, the Rebbe leader of our generation, Rabbi Yosef Yitzhak, and Dalad, their generation, together with Moshe of our generation, my revered father-in-law, the Rebbe leader of our generation, in the aspect of the 10th of Shvat, also included the revelation of the Torah of Hasidus, the well springs of the Baal Shem Tov. Through him, we also have the revelation of the aspect of 11, a pipeline for Hashem's revelation. The first Redeemer is the last Redeemer, David Melech. We may say that these are the three, my revered father-in-law, the Rebbe, Moshe, the intermediary that connects the well springs of the Baal Shem Tov, revealed through them, David, Malchus, Mashiach, revealing the concept of a pipeline of Hashem's revelation are similar and analogous of the three above mentioned, namely the first utterance of the commandments through the Holy One, blessed be He, and similarly via the revelation of the hidden and inner dimension of the Torah beginning through Yisro, the Baal Shem Tov, the last utterance of the commandments via Moshe, and the unification of them of 10 and 11, as will be complete through the revelation of a new secrets of the Torah shall be revealed by me, the Torah as it transcends the world of human intellect, and the level of the 11th day from Horeb, which transcends the 10 commandments that were given at Horeb, as will be revealed in the Torah, thereby truly uniting the laws of the Torah with their deepest reasoning, coming from the essence and all-encompassing one, which transcends Moshe, the intermediary that connects in all true and complete redemptions through our righteous Mashiach. The lesson from this, all the above, from each and every Jewish person, men, women, and child, in regard to action, especially every Jewish person of our generation standing present on the Shabbat of the Torah portion of Yisro, when we read in Shul from the Torah the portion of the giving of the Torah. In addition, we are coming from the 10th of Shvat, the 11th month, and we are preparing ourselves for the 22nd of Shvat, 2 times 11, and every Jew must take a lesson. And Hashem spoke all these words, saying, which is said in the first person in a singular, I am Hashem your God, who is taking you out of Egypt, in order to teach us that this is a commandment and lesson for him, for every individual, just as it was at the giving of the Torah, that together with it being the event which only took place one time in history, the giving of the Torah, has an effect and a continuation throughout all time, in a manner of just as then, so too presently. So too must be now. When we read from the portion of the Torah, we must take from it the portion of the Torah, good resolutions in regard to action throughout the following days, weeks, and months, and especially resolutions that are related to the concept of 10 and 11 as mentioned above, This means just as at the giving of the Torah, all the Jewish people gathered together in a manner of, and the Jewish people camped there, as one man with one heart, so too there must be also the service of a Jew, every single Jew, every individual Jew. There must be he must gather together the 10 powers of his soul, and he must make from them a tzibor, congregation, entity for the purpose of serving Hashem, both with his 10 innermost powers, 3 faculties of intellect, and 7 attributes, and also with his all-encompassing powers, the aspect of 11, namely will and pleasure, as alluded in the verse, with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. This first and foremost to add to the study of Torah with awe, with fear, with trembling, and with shaking, knowing that when he learns Torah, it is in a confirmation with his own 10 powers of souls and with his own 10 powers of the soul. And also he is saying literally the words of Hashem, which was said to Moshe at Sinai. Furthermore and mainly, everyone must take upon himself to effect the following days in the near future at least another 10 Jewish people to add to the matter of Torah and commandments, and to put effort into this with all the above mentioned powers, his innermost powers and all-encompassing powers. As mentioned, this is the directive for each and every Jewish person in our generation, man, woman, and children, especially in beginning with the people who find themselves now here in the synagogue, study house, and house of good deeds of my revered father-in-law, the Rebbe, leader of our generation, which is the sanctuary in microcosm, the house of our Rebbe in Babylon, in the diaspora, which is indeed the house of our life, of all the Jewish people which find themselves in this place, and of all the Jewish people of all the generation. This is due to the fact that the leader is everything. From him it is drawn forth the flow of vitality to the whole entire generation who are formed throughout the world. Therefore it is understood that in the synagogue, house of study, and house of good deeds, in the house of our life, and especially through him, making the flow of Torah of life and commandments, which about them it is said, and you shall live by them, available to all, which they are our life and lengthen our days. And through the Jewish people, which find themselves here, being a living example of how we must conduct how one must conduct himself according to the directives of the leader of our generation, the flow and vitality are drawn forth from this house, especially that we are now adding in renovating and repairing the house as much as possible in this lowest world to the Jewish people throughout the world until the whole entire world. Furthermore, and this is the main thing, literally immediately, the true and complete redemption comes in literal actuality. Then the synagogue, the house of study, the house of good deeds, together with all the synagogues, houses of study, houses of good deeds, will ascend and fly with the clouds of the sky, together with all the Jewish people, with our youth and with our elders, with our sons and with our daughters, to the Holy Land, and then to the holy city of Jerusalem, then to the holy mountain, and then to the third, the triple Beis Hamikdash, the Beis Hamikdash being that it includes the tabernacle, first and second Beis Hamikdash, and immediately the Mirad Mamash, literally immediately, with all its meaning being with the simple meaning literally right now. Thank you for joining us for tonight's shiur. Sei gesund, Slach Rabba.